Hey there, here's another quick tutorial for Blender, and quite often when we're modeling a 3D object like this object I've been working on here is a kind of sci-fi helmet. We quite often want to have a smooth surface but also keep our hard edges, so especially when we're doing something mechanical like this. A good example would be this top part here. You see how I want it to be smooth, but we also want to keep these sharp edges. Now, usually, if we were to take an object and apply a subsurface modifier to it, it would ruin our hard edges. So we're going to take a look at how we can maintain those hard edges, but still subdivide the surface so we get a nice smooth finish. So I'm going to open a new project here, and I'll just send these to another layer as we don't need them, and I'll delete our cube. I'll also get rid of our grid floor because we don't need that. Okay, let's just take a basic object. If I were to stick a cylinder into here, for example, scale it up a bit. So here's my cylinder, and if I were to go to the modifiers and I add a subsurface modifier, look at what it does to my tube. My tube is no longer a tube anymore. It's now basically a ball. That's not good. That's not the effect that I want. I want to keep these hard edges, but I want to subdivide the surface to make it smoother. So what we're going to do for this is, well, there's a few ways it could be done. I'll show you the first way first. And this is not the best way of doing it, but it's a relatively quick way of doing it. So we'll take our surface, our object here, and there's our subdivision surface. Now if we add another modifier to here, which we'll call edge split. Now, what edge split should be able to do is detect our sharp corners, and then when we put our subsurface modifier on there, you'll see now our edges are defined, but we've smoothed down here. And if we add more divisions, you'll see our surface gets smoother and smoother, but we've kept our hard edge. However, this hard edge is a little bit too hard. It's almost unnatural. So you may not want to use the modifier for the edge split. So there's another way that we can do this. And this is the way I prefer, and it's the way that I use for my sci-fi helmet. Because even a machined object, it still isn't going to have a perfectly 90-degree corner, you know, like this. It looks a little bit unnatural, so let's remove that. And the way we'll do this takes a little bit longer, a little bit more of a faff, but it gives you a better end result. So we'll go into edit mode and we'll select the edge here. So we'll get our edge mode and Control E, edge loops. So now I've got edge loops there. What we're going to do is hit E to extrude. Now I'm not going to actually extrude this anywhere, so we just hit escape and click to add that. So now we've actually added an extrusion, but we haven't extruded it anywhere. Now we'll hit S for scale, and we scale that down just a little bit. Now, the further away that you have these two vertices, the more rounded our edge will become. So if you want a real sharp corner, you keep these closer together. Okay, now we'll do the same again. Edge loops, this time we'll extrude downwards. Okay, now we'll let's check out our subsurface modifier. You'll see that now that is working at the top but not at the bottom because we never added those edges. So go back to edit mode. So we just want to do the same at the bottom. Control E. Control E. Edge loops, extrude in the Z-axis. There. Okay, now let's check that out. Okay, so you'll see that now we've got slight different kind of effect there using the edge retainers. So basically that geometry allows us to keep our sharp edges. So let's do a little bit more complex object. So let's create a plane. Go to our top view. Okay, now we'll go into edit mode and I'm going to make this into some kind of shape here. Let's subdivide this. So we'll add a loop cut here. Okay, there's our shape. Now we're going to extrude this. Okay. So there's our new shape here. So it's quite square. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to adjust this in. So we're going to have a sloped surface on that edge. Okay. Let's rotate our object around. Okie dokes. Right, so now if we were to, again, apply a subdivision surface modifier, look at what happens to our shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our edge geometry to this. And we're going to do it using our loop cuts. It's a very quick way of adding in this edge geometry. So basically we want to add in a loop cut on either side of any edges that we want to keep sharp. So it's quite simple using the loop cut tool because it will actually add the edge all the way around our object. So it will add it all the way around our seam that we wish to keep sharp. Okay, so I've got it around all of the major vertices apart from the bottom. So if we now apply our subsurface modifier there, you'll see that now, well, our bottom is still a little bit sharp, but it's not perfect. If we add some more divisions to this, there we go. Now you get the rounded bottom. You see how our bottom is rounded and our top is a sharper corner because we placed no holding geometry at the bottom here. If I add some holding geometry there in the bottom, you'll see now we get a sharper corner again. So we've got a smooth subdivided surface. You can see there's our mesh, but we've still managed to keep our hard corners. So that is how we can create smooth surfaces but maintain our hard corners in Blender. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.